afternoon. It's Mary with Simple-elegance and Around H-Town, Simple-elegance. And today we have Rita Santamaria from Champion School of Real Estate, and it is such a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me to be here today. I am so happy to see the amazing things that you have going on here. I cannot believe your warehouse and how organized you are, and the entire setup is amazing. Amazing.
Thank you, Rita. It's been a journey, as you know.
Yes.
And why don't we start out with your journey? Because I love your journey of how you've gotten to this point. But it started way back when.
Way back.
You know, and I love people that said, oh, well, that company, it just, it grew out of nowhere. Well, no company ever grows out of nowhere. And there's always this long journey. And share that with us.
Well, years ago, in fact, so many years ago that people that actually hear this interview may not have been born yet. But in 1983...
I was born.
Okay, good. 1983, I opened Champion School of Real Estate. And just totally on-job training, taught every class, and thoroughly loved teaching adults and teaching adults real estate, because out of college I was a teacher for a very short time in the public school system, and then I got my real estate license in the North Dallas Plano area. So I put the two together by teaching adults real estate, and just found this love. And if you love what you do well at it. And I tell people that all the time, because you don't have to make yourself get out of bed if you're excited about each day. And it was just something that I fell in love with and have had an amazing journey career-wise with Champion School of Real Estate. Growing it to every metro in Texas with brick and mortar, growing it with online delivery, growing it with live broadcast, virtual broadcast. Since 2016 we've had that. So it is a journey of just great challenge and yet great success at the end of the day that I'm so thankful for.
That is awesome. I remember when you talked about bringing on your first law professor. Tell that story, because I just, this is like, as an entrepreneur, you basically have to do what you have to do to get anything done, and it's like, at this point, maybe I don't do all the different positions in my business anymore, but there was a day that I did them all, and I did them so I could pay somebody else.
That's what we do.
Right.
That's what we do. We do all the positions and then think, oh, which ones can I delegate first? But you're reminding me of way back teaching, and a couple of things. One that I think of is the very first class that I taught for real estate was at Houston Community College.
Okay.
And somehow they found me, invited me to teach a law class, and this was on a Thursday. And I said, well, you realize I'm not an attorney. And they said, oh, that's okay. Here's the book, and you need to show up Monday. So just having lots of personal desire to make this work and a lot of anxiousness and worry. I studied all weekend, and then I would stay like a chapter ahead of the students, all adults. And I did it, and it worked out well. And I know that many were thinking, this is her first class, and we're just going to pull for her and not, be disappointed or challenge her. It went really well. And I truly can say I fell in love with real estate at that point of teaching real estate. But then down the road, years later, I was in San Antonio teaching a class. And I was teaching a CE class, and at that point, feeling pretty self-confident about all subject titles. And I had this attorney guy who said, by the way, I'm an attorney, and I'll just be correcting everything that you say is incorrect. So I wasn't sure which direction you were going with that question. And I'm like, okay, talk about putting someone in a very apprehensive position. And so I just kind of would bring in a subject and then say, well, what do you think about that? And I invited him to co-teach the subject with me, and it worked out well. So
that's awesome.
There have been many of those times where you're just so nervous and concerned, and yet it works out.
Yeah, and it's like you kind of have to, I mean, the saying, fake it till you make it. It's like put one foot in front of the other.
Exactly. And
be
doing your best.
Exactly. But you can make it.
You can make it. You just have to show people that you're doing your very best and that you want to do your very best. And if you don't know the answer, you will search and find the answer so that they feel like, okay, well, she may not know everything, but she's willing to go to resources.
Correct.
And figure it out.
Correct. That is so true. And, showing up is a big thing.
I tell everybody, showing up is 80% of the sale. It's shocking people that just don't show up.
Right.
They don't answer text. They don't answer email. They don't answer the phone. Mm-hmm. And yet they wonder why their business isn't where it should be.
Correct.
So showing up
is huge.
I
remember this one phone call I got. We were literally destaging this one house. It was back in the day when we went and rented the U-Haul and we delivered everything. We took it all out. We didn't have logistics people. We didn't have our own truck. And I'm pulling down the truck thing and the phone rings. And I answer it and this guy says, "You do blinds?" I'm like, "Okay, yes." And he goes, "You do my blinds?" And he's from Nigeria. And I'm like, "Can I meet you on Friday?" And he's like, "No, I'm leaving on Wednesday for Nigeria." I'm like, "Okay, I'll meet you on Tuesday." I didn't even know where Hockley was. And so I'm like, "Sure."
Sure,
I'll be there. Petrified. I come in and I learned one thing. You never park in the driveway. You always leave yourself a way out. Because a taxi cab came in and blocked me in. And on and on and on. I ended up decorating their whole house. And he spent tons of money. And I was like, "How did you know you could give me money?" He goes, "You answered the phone."
Oh,
and he gave me $2,000 that day. And I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I answered the phone."
You answered the phone.
Right.
And then he got to know you.
Yep.
And then you were blocked. And therefore, the blinds turned into the whole house.
Right. And then we got all his furniture, and then I managed his property. But, I answered the phone. And so often it's just
it is.
I just have to pick that up. Because that might be the next phone call that makes you.
I can honestly tell you that we have new people who walk in the door and say, "I'm getting my real estate license because the agent I worked with was so busy I could never get a hold of her." And this is the student, said, "Well, I know that if people call me, I can answer the phone or email and get business because my agent did not get back to me." And so the perception being that the business, and this was a few years ago, this was not 2020, but the perception being that agents were so busy. And I'm thinking, as a longtime experienced agent myself, broker, that no, they just didn't do their job the way they should have by getting back to you.
Yeah.
But wasn't 2020 amazing?
So, actually, when you look at your business, Rosemary, how were you already prepared, and did you even realize you were prepared for 2020? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But you had gone to online back in 2016, was it?
2016 to virtual. We've been online since 2004,
Okay.
but virtual with Zoom since 2016.
Okay.
And which is also just amazing to me in that we tried to get our wonderful adult students' attention by saying, you can take classes at home with a teacher with live broadcasts, which is Zoom, which is virtual learning that all of our kids do now in school. Okay. But agents weren't paying attention. They knew they could do online on the computer. They knew they could be in the classroom, but they didn't understand how virtual worked until COVID happened. And on March the 14th, when everything was shut down and they had to realize how virtual classrooms work, they started trickling in. By June, it was, oh my gosh, we're so glad that you all put this together during COVID. And little did they know, we put it together and launched it January 2016.
Yeah.
So we were ready, we were prepared, and we already had all of our courses approved for virtual learning. So it was so seamless, and it was just the most wonderful gift that allowed us to keep ourselves in business.
Yeah. No, that was like, I remember teaching probably the first time down with Rosemary at Galleria. And I was like, this is really weird. Because here's all these people on the screen and you have to look at the camera. But like, oh my gosh. This year, that's the only way. We had to learn how to do Zoom classes. Thank God for Jonathan. He came in and helped us. But because that's how you had to network this year. And we
brought you in as a guest speaker.
Of course.
We always do.
We love that.
In our staging class that Rosemary Bickford teaches, which is an awesome designation class.
It is.
But bringing in guest speakers, bringing in video, screen sharing so that you have PowerPoint going, all of that is a learning experience. You learned it. Yeah. I learned it. All of our teachers learned it. All of our students learned it. So sometimes we're really hard on ourselves and we say, oh, I'm too old to learn that. Or, oh, I can never figure that out. But when push comes to shove, look at you.
Learn it.
You're doing podcasts.
Yeah.
And
who knew?
how fun. Yeah.
I remember having Claudia Da Silva in, and she is just like she just really loves social media, and she's embraced it. And she's like, Mary, you have to change your attitude. You have to change your attitude. Because I'm like, ah. And she's like, you've got to change. And, it's like, what is our attitude towards growing and learning and doing different things? It's got to be that positive. And as we look at ourselves, I'm reading, oh gosh, I can't even remember the name. It's about top performers, high performance behaviors. And the biggest thing is their positivity and their desire to serve. And I think as we look at, you had a desire to serve realtors or people to build into the real estate industry. How do you become a realtor?
It's been so much fun for me because with our business, yes, we get to see brand new people who either got laid off from their job or saved all their money in order to come in and be their own boss.
Right.
And it is so motivational. It is so positive because they say, oh my gosh, I wish I had done this so much sooner. And it allows them to be the best they can be based on their own productivity. And if you are able to have that amazing opportunity to help others, the money comes.
It does. It does.
And it's all about service. It's about helping. It's not about focusing on the dollar.
Correct.
I mean, when you went to that gentleman's house, you thought, well, if I'm lucky, I get blinds.
Right.
And you weren't concentrating on the whole house. But you were so kind, and I just know you. And you were so helpful, and you were so positive. And she thought, wow, I really like this person. And
that's
then the money
really,
comes.
exactly. And as I look at realtors, those that set themselves up and say, you know what, I am in this for the full, I'm 100% in this. Yes, you can do it part time, but I think it's just when you're building your own business, it has to be you're in it.
Part-timers will say, when they finally decide to go full-time, they will say openly, I should have gone full-time at the beginning. I should have had faith in myself and just jumped in with both feet. And that's their only regret that they will say after the fact. That
They
full
start as a
time
dabbler
is so
or
much
just
better. Yes.
an amateur versus going in it as the high performance. So, if somebody was looking to start their career, what's that path look like?
That path looks like they can do it in 3 to 6 weeks
Okay.
based on their schedule. If it's real estate, they can go day, night, weekend, and they need 6 courses. And if they went strictly every day and weekend, they could do it in 3 weeks. You don't have to. You can do it at your own pace. And you can take as long as you want or as quickly as you want. A lot of our students do it during the week only, not including weekends, and that would be the 6 weeks path. That's for real estate. If you wanted to be a loan officer, it's only 23 hours.
Really?
With real estate as an agent, it's 180 hours. So 23 hours you can do in 3 days. And we absolutely do have for each of these areas a prep course that allows you to pass your national state exam. Because at the end of your courses, whether it's real estate, loan, appraisal, inspector, you have to take a national exam. So real estate agents taking 180 hours know so much more than the loan officer only needing 23. So that's why we expand the prep. But at the end of the day, they do just fine. They do well. An inspector, on the other hand, has 4 times those hours.
Really?
But they are
4 times the realtor?
the realtor's hours. Yes,
Really?
over
Okay.
600. But
Okay.
this spring, the Real Estate Commission decided to reduce those down to more like 400. But we have the lab, we have hands-on, we have ride-alongs, plus the hours. And the inspection business has been very, very, very robust for inspectors. And during COVID, obviously with more sales in real estate, we've had more loans made by loan officers. Inspectors are really busy. And now the industry that's growing that I've had at Champion School of Real Estate since '89 is the appraisal side. Appraisers are so busy, they can't keep up with all of the work because real estate is selling all over the U.S., but especially in Texas. And on the appraisal side, we can get you in and out on the appraisal side, being an appraisal, residential appraiser for, it would take about 3 to 5 to 6 weeks, again, based on your schedule. But they're all busy, and I love it.
That's crazy. And making money.
And making
which
money,
is
not just
huge.
busy, but making money.
They're very
Right.
productive. Barb
Exactly.
Schwartz always says, busy is pushing paper here.
Uh-huh.
We're productive. So
Productive means you're going to get a paycheck.
you're going to get a paycheck, and we like a
Yes.
paycheck. So that is awesome.
And what I'm really proud of is at our school, you can take the courses either in a traditional classroom. We're back in the classroom now. And or as well, we talked about the virtual. And then we have online. So every single industry allows you today to either do online, traditional classroom, or virtual learning. They've all come full circle to say, hey, we got to do what we need to do to help people.
Right. Which is so huge.
And you're helping people.
So we are. We love to help people, but it's, we find it, we really say that we're a partnership. It's a partnership on the home staging part is with the seller, the realtor, and the home staging company. We're the marketing, we're the merchandising part. We want to make sure that house is beautiful and it has a lot of emotional touch points for our buyers to fall in love. It's no longer about the seller, it's all about the buyer, and we focus on the buyer. But our goal is to get the house sold and sold quickly and for top dollar, because that's what really business is. And our realtors, they sign a fiduciary responsibility that they are there to get top dollar. And so what does that take to get top dollar?
And they all know that a staged home sells so much faster.
Correct.
It looks lived in. If it's staged professionally, which you all do, then that impression the buyer has is, yes, I could move into this house.
Right.
Because you make it look like a new home.
Correct. And that's what we're competing against is, is brand new homes and model homes. And why do builders do model homes? Because sellers fall in love with the model home. So we want your home to look like a model home so that our buyers are falling in love.
And after the tour that I just had of your warehouse,
yes, dear.
Your showroom, so to speak, I am amazed. I mean, it is beautiful. And I just love how you care about everything. All of the furniture, it has shrink wrap on it. It's all just like in beautiful shape so that when it's delivered, it looks very, very nice.
It's ready to go into that home. And, people ask, well, is everything for sale? Of course, when you have 60 couches, everything's for sale. I don't have any personal love to anything. But if you want to pay, I'm all about that.
It's all for sale. Because you're shopping every day.
Exactly. We get to shop all the time. In your career, anytime, what was the best advice you got?
Best advice that I got is that it's all up to you individually as a person to succeed or not succeed. Anyone that builds their personal success on, and this may bother some people, but you can't build your personal success based on what your significant other person tells you can or can't do. You can't build your personal success upon maybe a teacher or a parent years ago that told you what you couldn't do. Your personal success is totally right in your own mind and how you decide you're going to develop yourself, both business and personal. And then go for what you think you can do. And I know I always say it's a three-legged stool, and it is, in that you have to be well balanced mentally / spiritually, meaning time out for yourself.
Right.
You also have to know that you're going to be feeling like a better, good person if you also take time out for your family, personal life. But at the same time, your family needs to know the outcome of being my own boss is that I get to have more flexible hours. And yet sometimes it's not so flexible when right now you get the phone call and right now that customer needs you. So you must go. But that does allow me to be at your baseball game, your soccer game, whatever, at another time. But I think the best advice, again, that I was ever told, and it was actually by my dad, was you can do anything you put your mind to as long as you stay focused on it. And that man was a farmer who got up early in the morning and came back at 5 o'clock in the afternoon or the evening. To me, it's afternoon because I'm still kind of working at 5 o'clock. But my dad would be, okay, it's 5 o'clock, time to go home. But we never saw him in the morning because he was out farming.
He was gone. Yeah, exactly.
And just watching that work ethic, it wasn't verbal advice. it was literally the physical that I saw that made an impression. But really, if it's to be, it's up to me. It's trite saying,
Exactly.
but that trite saying is the truth.
Exactly. I know we were just out in Deer Valley, Utah, and we were going up the gondola, and my brother was answering an email, and my nephew's like, "Dad, we're on vacation." But I'm like, you know what? We can still be skiing, and I
That's
can get some
right.
work done. But, especially with our phones today, but you still can be balanced.
Yes.
Which I love, and I mean, I went through my years of just working, and it was not a good thing. But now having that you can work a balanced life and that there are times that you have to say, no, my family is number one right now, and it's like sometimes you have to kind of sit out in your car for a second and say, nope, okay, I'm going to diffuse.
Exactly.
I'm leaving work behind.
Exactly.
I'm going to get myself prepared to be there for my family. And you can.
And that conversation, I encourage all of my teachers to have with our new student. That conversation needs to be with their families to say, starting out, I'm going to be working way more hours
Right.
than I will need to work in 3 to 4 years.
Right.
But bear with me because right now, mom, dad needs to give it their whole focus, and I will be working more hours. And I remember personally, very, very succinctly, my first year, I taught 7 days a week, morning, night, weekend. If I wasn't teaching, I was picking up the phone registering. 2 people, my former partner, and I took care of classes 7 days a week and registered students. And my children were absolutely fine because on the front end, we told them it's going to be different for a while. But then mom will be able to do more things, but just give me this time to get my
Exactly.
business off the ground. And they have told me time and time again, like my dad, it gave them a vision of you can work hard and you can still have a family life, but that's what you need to do to grow your business.
Exactly. I grew up with a veterinarian as my father,
Uh-huh.
and our playpens were generally dog cages. Like we grew up in the business, and
Literally, right.
Literally, I
Uh-huh.
mean, we were right there. And I remember answering a business phone, like when I was 8 years old, and you had to answer it properly. I remember this one person, "Where's your father? I'm gonna kill him." I'm like, "Daddy," "Oh, that's Mrs. Mitchell." Blah blah blah. But no, I think it's awesome for kids to grow up in a family that is creating their own business because they do see, the hard work that goes into it, but also the rewards that come out of it. And there's so
Exactly.
many rewards. And like as you look
Exactly.
at leaving a legacy, okay, think about that, Rita. What's your legacy that you are leaving? You are leaving a huge legacy.
I hope and believe my legacy is that you can be a good parent and you can surround yourself with people that you love while at the same time having self-fulfillment of not only opening your own business but growing your business to be successful, where in fact you help other people in their lives, whatever it is, you're helping them to be successful. With my legacy, I have many people that come to me year after year and say, thank you for the amazing teachers you have, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to have a great life for my family. And I just think everybody has to really focus on what their legacy is. And if you do the right thing by people, helping them to be successful in whatever it is, selling their house, buying a house, becoming a real estate agent, becoming a loan officer, becoming an appraiser, becoming an inspector, becoming a title rep, becoming whatever it is that you want to become, if you can help people, then that's a legacy that will go on forever.
Amen.
And I am so, so fortunate to see people that, because of my little school that grew and grew and grew, it helped people in the state of Texas have their wonderful legacy, their life, their business. And it's amazing because they say, oh, you had such a huge part in that. Well, we had a little bitty part because the true growth was up to that individual. But
you began that step.
Began it and grew it and added
and
to
offered
it.
many more classes,
Delivery methods and career roads to go, and designation courses to be more in a specialty or a niche type market area. I absolutely believe the more you learn, the more you earn. I absolutely believe the more knowledge you have, the more self-confidence you have and gain. I see it every day.
Yeah, that's awesome. What do you love about Houston?
What I love about Houston is you can actually get around in Houston a lot easier than you can in some other places. And it always cracks me up that people will say, oh, the traffic in Houston. And I look at all of the loops we have. And I look at all the places that we go on a daily basis. And I think, it's not that bad. Traffic is bad everywhere.
Correct.
I love the fact we have a huge international airport that is so close by.
Right.
And then we have Hobby Airport that also is international now and so close by. I love it that one day, and this may offend some people, but I love the idea we're going to have a fast train that will take us to Dallas, will take us to San Antonio, will take us to Austin in minutes.
Right.
I love that because in Texas, we drive everywhere. And we have kids and grandchildren and friends and relatives. Everybody does that either lives in San Antonio, Austin, Fort Worth, Dallas, or Houston. We don't have to drive. We can jump on a train and be there. I love that idea.
Yeah, and that's coming 2025, is that?
It's coming in about 4 to 5 years. Yeah.
Which is so exciting.
And I love Houston because we're close to the Gulf of Mexico. We have a beach. We have palm trees. We have sunshine. And we have all of our athletic sporting teams. We have lakes everywhere. There's just so much to love about Houston.
I agree.
And I know this is going to sound maybe disloyal, but there's so many things about Dallas I love.
That's okay.
And Fort Worth is amazing.
And San Antonio and Austin.
San Antonio is the Riverwalk and wonderful people. And the whole state of Texas loves Austin.
Exactly. It's so fun.
It's just, that's why we all travel to those cities.
Know what? We were, this was a couple of years ago, and we were going to Austin for the weekend, and Jim was like, Mary, there is this write-up on this restaurant that has wonderful seafood. And, like, that's not something that I usually would get, like, on a town that's kind of inside.
Right.
I got oysters from Cape Cod.
No way.
Yes, and I
What
forget
was the
how this
restaurant?
server.
Do you remember?
It's on the main road. I forget what it is, but it was so fabulous. And we're sitting outside, and of course the server pronounced Katuitt very, very wrong, and so I corrected him. But like they're Katuitt. But I'm like, oh my gosh, to be able to have oysters in Texas from Cape Cod, which you know I love my Cape Cod.
Yes, you do. That's where you grew up.
It was just like, it was so fun. I'm like, here in Texas, and then of course, you know, outside of Austin is just so beautiful. And
the hill country is amazing.
I couldn't believe how when we moved here, I was just like, wow, Texas. The whole state has its all little peculiarities.
That's why
and
California is our #1 purchaser of homes outside of the state of Texas. And then after that, this year it's been New York.
Really?
Generally, it's Florida or
Okay.
Arizona, which is so strange because those states
Arizona
also
and
have
Texas are kind of,
amenities.
they're all the
Yeah.
same kind of Florida. But
this
it's
year,
interesting that everybody's coming to the beautiful state of
is.
Texas.
It is. And tomorrow morning at 9:30, I'm doing my Zoom interview with Dr. Purdue from Texas A&M University Research Center. It's just 50 minutes. It's free. You can go to our website and get the link to hear the interview. He's talking about the economic update for 2021, and he will give us the absolute facts on business in Texas, the states that are the most prolific in buying homes in Texas, and what to expect this year. So
That
it will be
is
great. Just go to
awesome.
championschool.com
Okay.
and you can get the link in order to listen to that.
So do you have to register in
interview.
advance for
You can
that?
register on the link,
Okay.
championschool.com.
Okay. And now will it be recorded so that you can listen
It
to it
is.
later?
The very next day, it'll be on YouTube.
Okay, that is awesome to
Yes.
really get that 2021 forecast.
It's
And
always
from what I'm
excellent.
hearing, 2021, even with all the questions of what's going on, is going to be fabulous.
That's what we feel. That's what we see. That's how the very first week and a half of the year has kicked off to be. It's an exciting time.
Awesome.
It is.
Any closing thoughts that you wanted to share today?
Well, closing thoughts being that we are absolutely so lucky to live in Texas. During down cycles, we've still always managed to be okay. And up cycles, we are an amazing state for whatever the career path is. And that's why so many different people are moving to Texas.
So true.
And I just want us to all think about how to be maybe more giving to the community, maybe more kind to each other. After 2020 and everything that has happened currently, I just hope we all kind of lower our temperature level and just maybe be nicer to each other, help each other more, and obviously be more positive about what's going on in our world and practice positivity, kindness, and being calm and thankful.
I love that.
That's the direction I'm going this year.
Well, I love that, Rita, and I think that is a great direction for all of us. We've all been on edge. I think
Yes.
coming out of 2020, I remember being on a mastermind early in like the summer, and one person just said, 2020 has to be the year of grace because everybody's like this, and
Yes.
you just don't know what maybe the person that cut you off, we don't know what's going on in their life.
I have no
You
idea.
know, and maybe we should say a nice prayer. Lord, bless that person. Give them a better day today, and really, really think about how can we serve? How can we love somebody today? Because that might be the first time that they've gotten a hug. Or,
And
maybe an elbow
they-
thing. But,
Exactly.
so, anyway.
We just don't know. And with everybody that have had family members that have been sick, loved ones that have passed, I'm just personally hoping that we all do a better job of giving people the benefit of the doubt.
Amen to that. I think that's a great way to close our podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, Rita.
Thank you, Mary.
You are so welcome, and thank you.
It's been so much fun just to get to talk to you.
One other thing, how do we
Yes.
get in touch with Champion School of Real Estate?
Well, you can definitely go to our website, championschool.com. Be sure you have 2 S's in there, championschool.com. You'll find all of our courses to change careers from real estate or loan inspector, appraiser. And we also have business etiquette, which is for everyone.
Absolutely.
And you'll see all of our courses. You'll see the pricing. You'll see the delivery methods. It's all about you, what works for you in your day-to-day life. And we do have phone numbers, but most people in today's world would rather reach out on an email or go the direction of a link to the website.
Well, and you also do have counselors too. That if somebody wanted
We
to sit
have
down
live,
and
wonderful, amazing
a map,
people.
they can sit and talk with them.
Absolutely. You can either do it through chat online,
Mm-hmm.
and all of our brick and mortars, we have full-time staff support. Right now, they're all wearing either face shields or masks,
Mm-hmm.
and we have those available as well for our students. But we take such pride in actually having people there for face-to-face counseling, because it's a big deal to change careers.
It is.
And we want you to be able to have any question answered that you would like to have answered. So any of our campuses, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio, Houston,
And
they all
spring,
have live.
we just have a brand new building in spring.
New North Houston Spring building that we hope will be open, totally open for business on Friday
Yay!
of this week.
It's beautiful.
And it's 2-story, and it's our headquarters, but we have wonderful, beautiful classrooms there. And I know you saw it last week.
So
dropped
exciting.
in.
Yes, I loved it. And it's off of my most favorite street in Houston. That's 99. It's my best friend.
Oh, I know. We love our 99
We love our
Grand
99.
Parkway.
My husband's always saying, Mary, you don't have to take 99 all the time. I'm like, oh, it just
No,
calls me.
It
I
gets
love
you
it.
everywhere.
So,
We
anyway.
are right at Kirkendall and 99 Grand Parkway at the 99 Parkway Market Center. You'll go under the freeway. You'll see Memorial Herman. We're right next door. And yes, this weekend we'll have our first classes there. Is our hope and desire.
That is so exciting.
Yes.
So
Yes.
well, good. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you, Houston, for joining us on Around H Town with Simple Elegance. Have a great day.